Well, y'all, I am burnt out. I just want y'all to know that I've been tired for 14 days straight.
I lost count, so
Of how long you've been tired?
yes,
The
I've
difference
lost
is
count.
you're active. I feel like I keep like waking up, looking around the room, and be like, "Ooh, y'all are doing too much," and going back to sleep. Like I really just.
Damn, can I borrow? Can we swap lives?
I mean, I'm not really sleeping. I'm just saying, like, I just really don't want to do anything. So no, you don't want this. This is not what you want.
Yeah.
I'd much rather be over there where you're at, energy wise. Um, but yeah, welcome, one and all. Episode number 41 for real.
Hey, folks.
For real, for real. I almost jumped us all the way into the future when we were prepping this episode. Uh
That's that Lovecraft energy.
hey, it's that get us out of COVID energy. It's that let me hope I find my energy at some point while we're recording this thing because I'm trying. But I thought I didn't have time to brew a cup of coffee, and now I'm realizing as we're starting this an hour after we started that I really could have. Anyway, we're here now. We're here. We're here. It's fine. What's up, y'all? It's cracking. Yeah. So today's episode is called
Who invited Uncle Rush to Clubhouse? Well, we know who. Um,
right, but like why were so many people okay with it?
why? Like, so I mean, even before we knew who, even before folks were on Twitter, like, what in the whole hell? Um,
So wait, run it back a little bit before that because there are definitely people who don't know what Clubhouse is.
so Clubhouse is
And
a
even those who are hype beasting and want to be in it still don't know what Clubhouse actually is.
yeah, because the amount of DMs I got asking for invites, I felt like a crack dealer in the '80s. You got any more than
That's
Clubhouse
crazy.
invites?
I've
So
gotten 4 invites, but I don't have an Apple device, so I'm still outside.
so Clubhouse is a social media platform that facilitates voice conversations in groups. Um,
Also, these are voice conversations.
yes, it's like it's.
Cool.
Have you ever been on Discord and they have voice chat?
No.
It's basically just an open forum to talk.
So
So it
I'm real quick, just so that we understand where I'm at when it comes to phone technology as I play with the light behind me. I'm the nigga that resisted having a phone with a camera on it until it was just not an option anymore.
wow.
And I'm still very on the fence about voice notes. Um, Particularly more receiving than sending because like to me the receiving of the voice note requires so many conditions for me to actually be able to hear what you said. But if you just fucking wrote it, bro, if you use the same mic on your phone to voice to speech to text, then I could just read it no matter how loud it is around me or whether or not I have headphones and there's kids around me or other people talking or whatever. So yeah, no, I did not know that there were like social media platforms where people could jump in there and actually just be talking because that just sounds like a lot.
And this is
Sound like a house party.
and this is why I'm on this side and she's on that side because I'm the total opposite nigga who gets all the technology as soon as it comes out. So I had to have the camera phone immediately. Um, but yeah, so Clubhouse is this app where you have these voice conversations. So there's this room, you can enter the room. There's moderator of the room. So let's say I start a room, I'm a moderator. People who follow me can come in and join. And then people who follow them will also see that this room exists. And then it might also end up on the explore page. They have some sort of algorithm, but basically you see things that are within your like your social circle or type of stuff you're into.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows you who's in the room up to a certain point, and then it says plus 156 other niggas. Um, you have speakers, and the speakers are the people who are allowed to talk. So if you raise your hand, you can be a speaker. So the
Right.
moderator will choose you to come in to speak. You'll get in the queue, and when it's your turn, you'll get to talk. Um, you have to you have to press the mute button so that your background's not heard or you're not talking over somebody or whatever. So it people do a pretty good job of keeping the conversations moderated, people not talking over each other. Obviously, it depends on the time of day and the group of people, but it's generally civil. So that's
And like,
Clubhouse.
how do you tell who's talking?
Oh, it has their photo. So you got like it's little avatars. It's like little avatars. That's how you know like who's in the room. You see like the little avatars. So it would
It's house
be
party without video.
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. I mean
Elite house party
it's
with no video. Got it.
yeah, so it's invite only and it's app only right now. It's in beta. So mostly, started off like tech people, venture capitalists, people who are in the tech space, moved into the entertainment space. You have activism, you have, teachers, you have all kind of stuff. But it's generally like at least you have like the hip hop circle, you got like the black circle, you have like black culture circle, you have all these different things going on. So you go in there and you know a lot of the folks in there, especially
Right.
if you work in a specific industry and you've been doing it for a while. If you live in a certain city and you're in a certain scene, a lot of it looks familiar to you. So I was nominated by Dina, so I joined, and that weekend I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was just listening to conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden I see a room and it's like welcome Russell or something like that. And I'm like, wait, what? Like now I'm not I didn't process it and I didn't go in the room. I just saw it and I kind of like rolled my eyes and went back to doing what I was doing. After that, I saw another room that had his whole name. It said Russell Simmons is on Clubhouse or something like that. Um, that room filled up quickly and it turned dark.
I'm sure.
Um, because
What's funny about the tone deafness of people is that they didn't anticipate. You could have let him in and not, because if I understand correctly, you don't have to do a welcome room for every person that you bring in.
you don't.
You could have just welcomed him and let him be in there.
Yeah, they could have, but it does show you like you can't like if you go on the profile, you'll see like Dina nominated me. So
Right, but what I'm saying is,
but yeah, they didn't
if
that
they
it
hadn't
didn't
made
have to
that
go
room,
down
then it
like
would have
that,
took
right?
way longer for people to even realize he was on the app.
No, they
And
no, they got right to
if they
it.
hadn't made that room, then there wouldn't have been as much space for people to get in his ass.
Yeah, so I don't know how long he lasted on the app. I don't think it was long, but the reverberations of that conversation, the reverberations of that act sparked rooms and conversations that went for the next 2-3 days. And Clubhouse actually ended up making some changes to their actual app and the way you can block people and if block people have visibility to you or whatever. The big thing was it was a trigger for a lot of women and people who have been sexually assaulted, who have been raped, and actually some folks who had bad dealings with Russell were on the app, I believe, and that affected them directly. So it was kind of weird because he was nominated by I believe her name is I don't want to spell it wrong, but it's Eric Dyson's wife. I want to say it's it might be Marcia or Marcia, um, but she's an academic. She heads up the Global Women's Initiative and all this other stuff. And it's like, how did you not know that bringing this man into this space was going to
Yeah, her name
cause
is Marcia
chaos?
Dyson.
And the only thing that I could think of is she's old and didn't really understand how the
Right.
technology works. Like, that's the only thing I could think of.
I
Um,
think
I,
it's part not understanding how the technology works, and also, and I think we've mentioned this before about a variety of topics. Some conversations that seem really, really loud in our spaces are not even a blip on certain people's radars. This is big enough that you would think that it would be, right? This
right.
is big enough that if nobody else, her husband at a dinner table might have brought it up. But people are just like you said, there was somebody that jumped in there and it was like, he used to be my mentor and I didn't even think nothing other than to go say hi because I haven't talked to him in years. Like, I think people would be having these brain farts.
Right.
But it might be a combination. It might be the brain fart / the fact that she didn't realize she didn't have to make that room.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of crazy.
But other than that, y'all are having a good old time over there in the clubhouse, huh?
Uh, so then somebody brought up Joey, and then Joey came in.
You got to specify which Joey.
Oh, Joey, the Podfather.
Joe Button. Let's not call him the
No,
Podfather.
no, that's his name on Clubhouse. He's the
And I will not
Podfather.
acknowledge that shit. Because we
Oh,
all know who the real
we all
Podfather
know who
for
the
hip
real.
hop was.
We all know who the
We're
real.
gonna give a
So
runner up to that
hold
shit.
on, hold on. So because I was gonna
It's gonna
say
be,
I was gonna say we welcome Premium Pete.
on Epstein.
We welcome Premium Pete this week already. So that happened too. But Joe came in, and then it turned into a conversation with him about why people hate him and his situations. It also turned into a conversation about black men and protecting black women, and then it turned into a conversation about a bunch of different things. And that conversation existed until Ice Cube did what he did, and then he took over the forum.
So before we get to that, I just want you to know that once I finally make my way into this clubhouse, whether it's them launching an Android app or me getting a iPad, and if anybody has an old iPad lying around that they don't need anymore and you want to holler at your girl, holler at your girl. I definitely would love to have a conversation with Premium Pete about being a white man existing in black spaces and the liberties that one takes with that sometimes.
Oh, that's a whole nother topic.
But with him specifically, because it's not, I mean, obviously there are very much people who are in those spaces who are non-black people who are in very predominantly black spaces who understand and respect and move accordingly and so on and so forth.
Well, I'll tell you what I saw that was super dope, and we all know her. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna say what other people know, but Fadia was in a few of the rooms, and she was speaking because she was one of the first people on Clubhouse. We had a conversation about why Clubhouse exists, and is Clubhouse good for our culture. And she spoke as an ally and talked about bringing people on, and how those early conversations led to people getting checks. Because there are checks on Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? Just like anywhere else, but especially if you know the right folks, somebody plugs you in, you start a couple conversations, y'all jump on a call, a couple emails are exchanged, and the next thing you know, there's a real conversation about money being had. So, but she also, she understands her space as a non-black person. Who if somebody was invited to the cookout, I guess after all this time, Fadia would definitely have a plate. She might even be able to stir the soup. Just because
Fadia's cooking, y'all want Fadia's bringing something.
Listen, I believe you. But I'm just saying, like, but even still, she addressed the floor because she knows like everybody don't know her. Everybody doesn't know like Fadia's. She's dope. She opens up spaces. It's kind of like Dina. Dina presents herself as, hey, look, I'm not, I'm Arabic. This is like, that's my primary, background. But I exist in, this urban space. I'm an ally. I'm here to help with these particular agendas, this, that, and the third. And people get it. Nobody's like, oh, but some random person might be like, shut your non-black ass up. You know what I'm saying? Like if they don't know what the situation is. So that's a whole great conversation.
The person that I picked for a particular reason, but that's
absolutely. Because the opposite of that would be somebody like I forget who I was talking to about this yesterday. It would be somebody like Michael Rappaport, who
no, that's not the opposite of Premium Pete.
Oh, really?
Well, no, it's not the opposite. The opposite of Premium Pete would be DJ Z. Or it's the real.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, see you.
And if those are the ends of the spectrum, if it's like Michael Rappaport on one end and Z on the other end, Pete ain't even in the middle. But that's a different conversation. I'm not even in the clubhouse.
Oh, I thought
So
y'all
at this point, I'm just saying,
y'all was having a friendly conversation.
oh, I mean, it's in the spirit of, so one of the things that I saw about the Russell Simmons conversation that happened, because, you know, I'm not gonna say it's stunt culture, but a lot of what I know about Clubhouse is people coming back to Twitter and talking about what they're doing on Clubhouse.
Oh,
And
it's
like,
absolutely stunt culture.
I'm gonna say that some people, like, you've talked to me about things that are happening on Clubhouse, and it's not because you're stunting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
if anything, it's really because you're like, no, Ty, you need to come up in here. And I'm like, I can't, they won't let me in.
Yeah, because, you know, ultimately, like I said, there are colleagues of ours that are on there. There are friends of ours that are on there. There's like that, for me, that's the important part. Like, I'm not worried about but we've existed in this space long enough to know that, and that's why I love Clubhouse, because for people who don't know, this is what we've been dealing with during our entire existence in music. You know, being in these, I've always been the guy in the back of the room because I chose to be in the back of the room, whether I knew the speaker or not. You know what I'm saying? So to see it actually play out on an app where they're like, oh, the person that you knew left the room, so you get demoted to the back.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So, you know, and I don't know if they did that intentionally, but for me, it was poetic justice, because the way it's laid out is so like if you're great at networking, and I know people who nobody knows, but they're in these rooms and they're gonna make a name for themselves on Clubhouse because they're forward and they know how to get into it. But it's just like anywhere, you know, you go to a festival, there are some people that know how to get in the room, they know how to move in that room. You know, like you got that home, you're like, yo, if I take them in this room, they're gonna tear this room up. They're gonna go through here, have phone numbers, conversations, they're gonna be laughing with this person, you know, they're gonna, you know, build something with that person, like all in a short period of time. Some people are great at that. So those are the people who will flourish on Clubhouse. But
so one of the conversations that I saw around the Russell Simmons conversation was, here's the thing, guys, more of people that Russell considers peers need to check him before he has a reckoning or has a come to Jesus moment about the accusations that he's had. Because at this point, maybe he doesn't feel like he's had that conversation enough at a peer level. And so that's the reason why I said I would like to have that conversation with old boy, because old boy has definitely there is a I'm trying to be really delicate about this because I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think to a certain extent, certain people move a certain way and it's not even intentional. Like, they don't even realize it.
Right.
But when you've had privilege your whole entire life, that shit rears its ugly head like a motherfucker. And I say this as somebody who has recently had a lot of conversations about the privilege in my own life, right? Like, I'm an immigrant, I'm a Black immigrant, but I'm an immigrant who, you know, came from a family that had a decent amount of money when we moved here, came from a family that was a family of, you know, my father was a diplomat when me and my mom and my sister moved to the States. They had moved around. They knew how to get to a new country and acclimate. They already spoke English. Me and my sister grew up listening to, you know, American TV, American music and watching American TV. When we got here under a different set of circumstances, right? And then now as an adult, you know, we talked about, I know you and I talked about it. I don't know if I talked about it on here, but like, you know, because COVID, I fucked around and let my green card, my passport expired this summer. The green card I knew was coming, and, you know, not knowing that pandemics are going to affect timelines the way they would, I applied for a renewal back in March, right? The process when you renew your green card is, for whatever reason, the government has to approve that application, that request to renew it. Well, not that part. I don't say for whatever reason. You got to make sure that you're still doing what you're supposed to do, right? So they got to approve your request to renew it, and then they make you do what's called a biometrics appointment, which basically they make you come back into an actual field office and take another photo and another set of fingerprints. My shit ain't changed, but okay, whatever. That's y'all process. So I applied for my shit in March. I got a receipt notice in June. May. I had it in May. And then I just got my email saying that they've scheduled my appointment this week. I still don't have the actual physical letter telling me when my appointment is. But the ETA from the time they sent me that email to me actually having a physical card in my hand is still another 6 months.
Nah, I listen. I'm waiting on the Social Security card because, I've been in between Philly and here, um, for the last 8 years, and for voting, you
Mm,
know, I intended to vote in Georgia, but when the pandemic hit, Social Security offices closed, and the reason why I haven't done it is because, I lost a Social Security card while I was moving,
right,
and the process to get one a couple years ago, they made it harder, you know. But I have like my state issue thing from Pennsylvania, and I'm just like, why can't I just take this to the DMV here and like we'll swap it out? Y'all,
right.
y'all went through that whole real ID thing and made sure all IDs were the same, and so we all live in the United States, right? So why the hell can't I just give you this and you'd be like, hey, yeah? Because in Pennsylvania, if I just walk into the DMV and I lost it, they'll look at me and say, okay, here's your new one. They don't ask me for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So
Georgia's special though. Georgia's real special with IDs
I believe it.
because I don't know if this is something that's changed across the globe. But I know that but I know that this is not what the case was when I moved here 16 years ago. So when my green card expired last month, my driver's license also expired in the state of Georgia.
Mm,
I just replaced my license in May. The state of Georgia, whatever the expiration date is on my green card, that is the expiration date on my driver's license, period.
that's interesting.
Right?
Very
Now,
interesting.
where the privilege comes into all of this, right? Is I've lived a very American life since I was 10 years old. I know this language clearly very well. I know how to advocate for myself in a way that is very much American privilege, in a way that a lot of people in a lot of not American privilege, first world privilege, right? Like we
Right.
know how to be like, what? Nigga, nah, that's not gonna work, fam. Like it's gotta be a loophole.
Right.
I want to talk to the managers, managers,
Right. I
managers.
want to talk to the man. You know how to be a Karen sometimes.
I mean, but you got listen. I tell my sister all the time the amount of money she makes and the zip code she's in, she needs to act like that sometimes. You feel
Yeah.
me?
No, it's a fact.
I know how to ask certain questions. So, like for example, so with this whole thing, right? Once it was a month out from from my green card and my license expiring, I called immigration, like, hey guys, real quick, Georgia won't let me renew this license. I kind of need to move around. What's good?
Mm-hmm.
The first person I talked to was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Call like in 2 weeks, and then we'll see what we can do." And I was like, "Sis, that don't sound right, but I'm gonna let you rock." I call again, and they made me an appointment. Of course, in the interim, my license has expired because we found out the hard way. I mean, my passport has expired because we found out the hard way that, again, with my resistance to technology, me setting a reminder in my phone that is not an actual calendar reminder ain't the way. So somewhere
Oh.
around August 2nd, I looked in my phone and there was a reminder that was supposed to have gone off on July 15th, reminding me to renew my passport.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I call and I make an appointment because when you're waiting for your green card, once it's been approved, if you were outside of the country when you applied, they'll stamp your passport because the green card is just a visa, right? So they can just stamp it into your passport. If you lose it, if you're waiting for it, whatever. So I made an appointment to go do that. And the guy was like, oh, well, if you don't have your passport, they may not do it. So you could either wait until you get your passport or you could just, pull up and see what happens. They have an actual form for if you don't have your passport.
Right.
That whole process, I'm sitting in that room like, what if I didn't speak the language? What if somebody else had made that call for me and they were skeptical? So then they hit me back and they were like, oh, nah, they said wait for your passport, which I still haven't gotten because I'm a Haitian citizen. So they told me a month. I'm banking on 6 weeks, maybe 2 months for me to
Right.
actually have a physical passport. All that to say, if we are honest with ourselves, everybody has a modicum of privilege that applies to their life,
Absolutely.
whether it's education, socioeconomic status, race, nationality, whatever. And for some non Black people, whether they are people of color or not, who operate particularly in urban, primarily Black, hip hop spaces, sometimes that shit come out and it be real ugly. And a lot of us who know them don't check them because we know that they don't mean well. You and I were just talking about somebody who's like that.
Yeah, I've seen
We
that.
know that they don't mean to do it.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm gonna take it even further. It comes out in black people.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know. It's weird. Like I feel like maybe I dreamt these conversations, but I just literally had this conversation yesterday because at this point I'm a privileged black person. I'm a privileged black man. An educated, internet having black man. And that alone, like I can go 2 miles down the road to MLK and we live in two different ways.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that means, and I'm just talking about my access to information, the fact that, you know, I don't even have to go outside to get my groceries, bro. Like, you know, I'm like Instacart, drop my shit off. You know what I'm saying? Like, those things are privileges, not only because I can afford to do it, but because I have the access and the knowledge of the internet. And a lot of folks ain't up on the internet all day. And when we sit on the internet all day, we're the elite. We don't realize we having conversations, and it's people that are out there living life. They don't have the luxury of staying in the house. They got to be outside.
That was the experience with the beginning of the pandemic in my neighborhood, because we were having conversations on the internet about it. I'm listening to the news all over about it. I could guarantee you in March that the people that go to my local Walmart and my local Kroger had no clue what this shit really was. They just knew that they were told that shit was going to get shut down and they needed to go stock up because there was no toilet paper and no paper towels.
Yeah, no. And that's
not
because
going to work was not an option for these people.
No, not at all. So, and it wasn't presented to them properly. And so the context of the conversation I was having yesterday was about voting, right? It was about access to information. It was about, because somebody in one of the rooms, you know, when we were talking about Ice Cube, was talking about, we got to a conversation talking about how black folks are scared of everything. You know, because it's on the street level, you're like, oh shit, like they gonna come kicking my door. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I gotta cover the peephole on the laptop. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got all these superstitions, and because we feel like the system, and especially at that level, the system is so against us. Like, everything is rigged. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about the census and how the census makes some people feel like, oh, why you ask me all these questions? You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, like, because this is how we get money allocated to this neighborhood. So if only 1,000 people fill out the census in a 10,000 people area, y'all only get money for 1,000 people. That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we also understand, like, on the other side, like, niggas like, man, I don't fuck with the census because that's the government. And, you know, we out here sharing that information. And it's folks that in real time, I mean, I'm in the barbershops. You know, the conversations that I had in the barbershops, I'm sitting there realizing my privilege in my barbershop.
Depending on who the barber is and who his clientele is, where that barbershop is, that all those things are going to shift the conversation as well,
exactly.
Right? Because like I had a friend who used to cut hair at this barbershop that's over there on McDaniel Street, which is, you know, that part of Mechanicsville that like has transitioned but really hasn't. And then went over and was cutting hair at the swag shop on Edgewood.
Right.
And it was two different conversations.
Completely.
And then the conversation at the swag shop is going to be different than the conversation at probably any other barbershop on Edgewood.
Exactly. So, you know, those are the things I know. And my barbershop was on MLK. So I'm in there with the folks that's out there every day. Like, I can't forget those people. You know what I'm saying? That's what I come from. So, you know, growing up as a kid in the hood where you just was outside. You was like, there are so many people who still live that life. And once we get to like a certain status, we forget that they exist, you know, and that's why when you see certain black people and then certain other people have these conversations, you realize like, y'all not really representing the masses. Like, and I have to realize my own privilege and say, as a person who has means and who has access to some information that other people didn't, you know, that I have privilege. So imagine if I was not black, or if I was, you know, um, in some other tax bracket, and how that keeps changing. And the barbershop analogy is great because we can say, okay, this barbershop would be one conversation, and then this barbershop would be another conversation. It just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
It
And
keeps
then,
going.
also in those barbershops, the lineup might be a $15 lineup versus a $35
Right.
lineup.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was the reason why I brought up Old Boy, is because it's not and already knowing him in some of the places where we've had that conversation that even makes me want to have it in a public space. I already know how he would respond to it, and I've had him paint me as the angry black woman in a lot of our interactions. Like, and you know me, like I'm really not that person, but I'm also an Aquarius. So like when you tell me I'm mad and I tell you I'm not, and you keep insisting that I am, then you're gonna piss me the fuck off and you gotta get punched in your face.
Right. And that it's funny because a lot of that type energy happened on Clubhouse this weekend. And, as a man, I was just like, I'm here to listen. Right? I don't know what it's like to be in this particular situation. I know that I support, and a lot of you had the pandering ass niggas who was doing too much to try to, yeah, and you could tell when it's from a natural place, and then you could tell when it's a nigga that's pandering to women or to, whatever the current conversation is. So we had a lot of the pandering. Hey guys, just shut up. And it's like, bro, ain't nobody asked you to be the moderator. Like, there's literally a woman right here moderating. She's doing a wonderful job. We don't need you to like, with your soft
Also,
ass voice
that
to
the
try to
Pikmin,
be, nah, like, stop.
because to me, any man that goes too hard on that extreme, to me is automatically suspect.
It's weird.
It's
It
weird.
was
Like, why
weird.
are you
Like just
going
shut
over
up. Like
there?
that. Like ultimately, that's what. Like, and it's funny. Like chasing cats, bro. He on there like, yo, just shut the fuck up, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes people just gotta get to the point. Like, let them talk. And for the most part, it was that. But like I said, there was a one young lady who was a mentor by Russ, and the other ladies was just like, nah, sis, we don't understand what you're talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
And
that was just it.
but also, here's the thing about when we say, who invited Uncle Rush to the clubhouse. The reason why the music industry may not have as much of may never have as much of a Me Too moment as Hollywood did is, and I don't know if I'm articulating this properly, but I feel like maybe the relationships that we have with people in this business tend to be much more personal. And so it's a lot harder for some of us to want to turn on somebody. You know what I'm saying? Not even turn on somebody, but to call them out. Like, you know, it's hard. Like, it's I can't really explain it, but I know I've had men warn me about somebody and be like, "Oh, well, that's just how he moved." Well, shit, nigga, if we all know that's how he moved, why aren't y'all checking him? Like, why are y'all not telling him that it's not okay?
And that's the weird thing because there are so many people that we've heard things about.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many people with like
Where we've
these,
seen things.
right, and it's just like then you see them with like a woman who you respect, and they're just like in a space where they're giggling and laughing like everything's straight, and you don't know how to approach it. But
Right.
now we got the clubhouse and we're approaching it. I mean, it's conversations got to be had
Well,
to move things forward. Sometimes I just feel like the conversation that we had surrounding that was a necessary conversation.
I am in a space of manifesting, and I'm claiming it. So, if somebody got a iPad lying around that they not using that I can activate, y'all put me on. Let me know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get into, so let's talk about this Ice Cube situation.
All right.
So, Ice Cube, for those of you who haven't been paying attention, or not even as little as I have been, Ice Cube has emerged a very vocal political voice, at least on social media in the hip hop community of late. I think it started around the George Floyd protests. And he came into it with a lot of the energy that we would expect from, the founding member of Niggas with Attitudes, you know, who started with the fuck the police, all that good shit. Um, but he's also exemplified what a lot of people have an issue with when it comes to like jumping on these soapboxes on social media, which is that you're not coming in here with all the information that you should have, and you're also, but and therefore you're not offering accurate information all the time. So first, at first, Ice Cube was very much one of those fuck voting ass people, which we all know. No, please don't. Like, there's your ballot. If you haven't seen your ballot yet, which a lot of you guys have, they're saying record numbers of people have already voted ahead of time because the Democratic Party has hammered in the point that um we already know that Orange is going to try to contest the results of the election. So the more people who vote ahead of time, the better, because that means that on election night, they will have already tallied the majority of or whatever. If people in early voting states go ahead and knock that shit out now, right? So y'all have seen your ballots and y'all see all of the things that are on your ballots, and obviously that even if you don't feel like it matters in the national election, which the Supreme Court did rule in the last 4 years that the Electoral College has to vote with the popular vote in whatever state, right? So it can't be, a Democratic win for Georgia and the Georgia Electoral College is like, Republican. But Ice Cube came in the door hollering this, we can't vote, blah, 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 blah. Then he presented this contract for Black America, which, full disclosure, I haven't read.
I read it yesterday.
I did see that, obviously he didn't come up with that shit. He didn't pull that out his ass or come up with it on his own. He definitely worked with people who know more about these types of things, right? And then he extended an invitation to both current presidential nominees, one of which happens to be the sitting president, to look at this contract, see what some of the things are that, according to Ice Cube and his advisors, most Black people would benefit the most amount of Black people in America. And the Biden administration was like, all right, homie, we'll let you once we get in the office. Right now, we're a little focused on trying to get in the door. And, Trump did what Trump does. He knows a good fucking photo op.
Well, I mean, Trump ain't even the crazy thing is he didn't even get to Trump. He got to Katrina Pearson, who we ain't seen her in God knows how long.
I don't even know who that is.
That was one of his exactly. It was one of his surrogates. He used to be on CNN all the time. Her and this other guy who sells ties. This other black guy. Here's the thing, Ice Cube. First of all, I read his contract for Black America. Had reparations in there, and a lot of economic points, making sure that money is allocated and having oversight and all these things.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't inclusive. It didn't. There was no mention of women. There was no mention of the LGBTQ community. There was no mention of anything social beyond Black men. It was from the standpoint of a Black man, which was clear to a lot of other folks. It wasn't a bad proposition. It's not like it was crazy stuff in there. The point is, who the fuck are you? That's the point. And why the fuck do you think that you can speak for the totality of Blackness in America? And without actually talking to people, leaders, traveling. Like Ice Cube just said, "Yo, I'm."
Like it would have been better received if he would have went around and talked to a bunch of us first,
Right.
before he went and tried to present it to.
Absolutely.
Presidential
Like,
okay.
When they say read the room, like take a poll in the room, bro. Like walk around the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, had he done that, this would have been received differently by us. We're tired of people coming up and saying, yo, this is all y'all jump behind me. I got this. Who are you, fam? Like, yes, you are an entertainer. We know your songs. We know your catalog. That's cool. But you've been in a different space. You've been doing your big three thing, trying to get your donors and get your thing rolling, and that's dope. But you can't just wake up and decide that the last second you gonna come in here and try to negotiate,
Right.
right? And especially because when it comes to the Trump campaign, dog, you're negotiating with terrorists. In my book, this ain't a
And you're
Republican
negotiating with
thing.
people that have proven time and 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 time again, they don't give a fuck
Exactly.
about us or anybody else.
Anybody. And when people get on the false equivalency train, please remember that there are the senator, a Republican senator in the United States Senate yesterday. They released a call where he completely obliterated Donald Trump. Said that he was
A Republican senator?
racist. Yeah, Ben Sass, completely, because this dude is not a Republican.
He's not.
So when we talk about this work across the aisles with who? Like, the Republican Party has been strong armed, right? We got to stop normalizing Donald Trump. This is not about Republicans. The Lincoln Project is a bunch of Republicans who have raised millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to elect Democrats so that they can get rid of Trump and his people. Right? This ain't about conservatives. It's not about. This is about restoring parity. It is about the soul of America. That is what this election is about. So I don't care how you feel about Joe Biden. This is about progress. And to get progress, we got to get back to zero. And that's just the realest shit ever. So all these folks out here talking about Trump, dog. Trump is a racist opportunist who will talk to anybody and say anything and promise you anything to get elected. So,
and who's already shown us that he has no problem going back on his word. Not 10 minutes.
Absolutely. I mean, even yesterday, like first of all, in a debate, you couldn't denounce white supremacy. Then yesterday, you couldn't denounce QAnon.
Was it before or after we did our last show where we talked about the fact that we did talk about it, right? That like when the plot came out, no, I think his statement came out after we recorded. So when they found out that this militia group, whatever this extremist group, was trying to kidnap the governor of Michigan, which kidnapping is a federal, like, we all watch Law and Order, like, right. We know that shit ain't no little thing.
No, it was actually happening. He didn't respond till after the show.
He said he responded after the show?
Yeah, he responded after.
So after we had that conversation, this fool went on Twitter and did not denounce this group, did not say, hey guys, it doesn't matter whether or not you agree with people or not, violence is not the way. He went on the internet and talked about how horrible of a person the governor of Michigan is.
Shout to Big.
I didn't want to call her Big Gretch. I was trying to be respectful because I don't remember her last name right now. But
Gretchen Whitmer.
Whitmer. He talked about how bad of a job Gretchen Whitmer was doing and how horrible of a person she was. And I just miss the days of, like I said, my dad, and I don't say this shit like to brag or whatever because it's just my life. My dad was a diplomat. My dad was probably one of the most prim and proper people that I know. In the world of diplomacy, and in a lot of political spaces, there is a certain amount of pomp and circumstance and decorum that's tied to those offices. There's a way you do things, right? So like the Queen of England doesn't really actually run the country no more. But if you became a diplomat in England, you would have to go meet with the Queen. Like there's certain ways, there's a certain amount of, there's a certain air that the presidency is supposed to have. And even if you like fuck them niggas behind closed doors, on camera, as the person that once you become president, you become the representative of the whole entire country. On camera, you're supposed to pull up and be like, hey man, y'all can't do that, dog. Like, it don't matter if we don't agree. America is made up of all kinds of different people. Not issue a damn statement on Columbus Day and say that Columbus was a great man. And a lot of people have tried to change his narrative and tie his narrative to the death of other people. And we can't allow, bitch, what? Did you see that shit?
I did. I mean, okay,
y'all, so the White House released a statement. It was signed by the president on Columbus Day. And it was literally like, oh, thanks to Columbus, he ushered in the beginning of America's long-standing history of great contributions from people of Italian descent. That was like 2, 3 paragraphs. And then on paragraph 4, it was like in recent years,
Was that
he
nigga even
tried
Italian?
he was Spanish. No, he was Italian and he sailed for Spain.
Yeah, but
Because the Italians were like,
there's
you're
a
gonna go left to go right. Nah, nigga, that shit don't work. Marco
there's
Polo
definitely a
already.
question of his ethnicity as well.
There is, because I think
But
like there's also, but in any case, he sailed for Spain. But he was allegedly of Italian descent. A lot of the people who have, like there are a lot of places with a large Italian American population that do Columbus Day parades and all that, and use that as an opportunity to celebrate Italian American heritage.
well, here's the thing. I grew up in Philly in one of those places. Christopher Columbus is a fucking code. It's a dog whistle. It's a code word.
Mm-hmm.
Real Italian American history ain't got nothing to do with Christopher Columbus, and it didn't at any point until I'd say recently. When the
Right.
Italians came here, they wasn't like, yeah, my man Christopher Columbus was here right
Right, because
before I
they didn't
was.
come. The mass exodus of Italian immigration didn't start no time around 1492.
No time at all. But just to say that is something that's been given to this new group of racist folks who or that section that's not new. So there's a big subsection of Italians that are super extremely racist.
So real
And
quick, sorry, just to put a timestamp on this, and I know Wikipedia is Wikipedia, but according to Wikipedia, they timestamp the beginning of Italian immigration to the United States, like in large numbers, 1820. It's
yeah,
almost 400 years after 1492.
and yeah, and still that wasn't like it was. They still. I mean, I was watching Fargo, and Kansas City. They started to really like come in like the 1900s. Like the early
That's what it says.
1900s.
The period of mass immigration was 1890 to 1920.
Right. So, yeah.
For you as the president
But
to
here's the
sit there
thing,
and be
right?
like,
We
fuck all
gotta.
these natives that want to change this narrative, because yes, like, okay,
Okay, but we've had.
we wouldn't be here,
Here's
right? We wouldn't be here if he hadn't taken his little trip and been a mass fucking murderer and all this other shit. But the point is that he was a mass fucking murderer.
But
He killed a
no,
bunch of people on my island.
here's the point. This is the actual point. The actual
Sorry.
point is, why are we still talking about Donald Trump? We know who he is. Everything that he's done has pointed to this. So nothing he does is a surprise. It's who he is. And we need to stop normalizing Donald Trump. That's the problem. The more we have these conversations, the more we have intelligent conversations about shit that don't make no sense, the more we lend to who this dude is, a fucking idiot and a monster. He's a fraud. He's a con man. Like that's the only conversation that need to be had. Who cares what Donald Trump says? Donald Trump can say anything. He's lying. That's who he is. He's a piece of crap. So that's the conversation that people need to be having. Like debating everything Donald Trump does, man. We know how that's going to come out. 99 out of 100 times. And the other time is him trying to be manipulative. So at the end of the day, that's been the bigger problem. But who cares? Because he's out of here. He's completely alienated everybody, except for racist idiots. And there's a lot of them. But and I said this before. I said this a couple months ago. Donald Trump is going to lose worse than Mitt Romney lost to Obama. And Obama trashed Mitt Romney. I mean, completely. It was a wipeout. Joe Biden is
and I forgot Mitt Romney actually ran.
Yeah, everybody did because it was a joke.
That was the Republican candidate
in 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's who made it.
But
wow.
Yeah, and the reason why is because once again, talk to Republicans. Like you don't got to talk to Democrats about Donald Trump. Talk to Republicans. Like they're like, what the fuck? Like literally, what's the lady's name? The lady looked like Skeletor who works for him. Her husband, I can't think of her
Oh, the
name.
one whose daughter is like a super
On TikTok?
anti-Trump.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ann Coulter. Is it Ann
No,
Coulter?
it's not Ann Coulter. It's the other one. Oh, she's on CNN. I can't think. But her husband runs the Lincoln Project, or he ran the Lincoln Project.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, her husband was the biggest anti-Trump Republican. Raised all this money, millions and millions and millions of dollars, to elect Democrats because Trump has destroyed that party so bad, and they want to weed out all the Trump Republicans, traitors, and because one thing about the real Republican Party, they have ideals. They had conservative ideals, and it didn't have anything to do with a lot of the shit that it's turned into. The Tea
Okay.
Party completely fucked up the Republican Party. Um,
Kellyanne Conway. That's who you're talking
Kellyanne
about.
Conway, yeah,
She does look like Skeletor. You're right.
her daughter's hilarious though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so her husband George Conway was the guy who I don't know if he founded the Lincoln Project, but he was a pretty big dude over there. So you know, those are the people you just need to talk to. And like I said, Ben Sass completely, and this was a call. It was a call to donors that leaked. But his campaign confirmed it. I mean, obviously it was his voice, but his office confirmed it rather. Completely obliterated Donald Trump. Said he laughs at evangelicals. He's racist. He ponies up the white supremacists. Now this is a Republican senator. So if he know it, everybody know it. So that's where we are. Like I said, that's why Donald Trump is doubling down on all his goofy shit. Because if he spoke against white supremacists, those are the only people voting for him. That's your base. Those are your supporters.
Right.
So that's why he keep going to the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, trying to, doing these super spreader events. The man still got coronavirus. He out here, doing these campaign rallies with people all packed in with no masks.
Where is his wife? Okay, that's it. We're done. We're done. We can stop right there.
That's a good question.
Where is his wife?
Ain't nobody seen her.
He swear he's immune. Chris Christie said he just spent 7 days in ICU.
He almost killed Chris Christie. Crazy. Huh? He almost killed Chris Christie.
And he's Chris Christie is now out here like, hey niggas, I was in ICU for 7 days. Wear a fucking mask. And we don't know where his wife is.
Yeah. So
anyway, shouts to the homies in France who are going back into lockdown or have gone back into lockdown as of this week.
So back to Ice Cube real quick, just to wrap that up.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ice Cube went on the radio with Big Tigger here in Atlanta to try to convince niggas.
He did a full press run.
Yeah, well, we heard it yesterday because Big Tigger then came on ClubHouse and people were asking him about the interaction. And yeah, we had people like Ike Dirty. We had this fucking guy who ran for John Lewis's seat, this gun-loving Democrat, come in and start criticizing the party. And we're like, fam, this ain't even about that. Like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that at the last second, just like we was at like Kanye, what are you doing? Why are you trying to just come in like you're being used?
It's been 4 years.
If you want...
It's been at least 3 years of us realizing that this motherfucker was just as horrible as we thought he was going to be. You couldn't have had this conversation in November 2017.
Right. We like out the gate, like, holy shit, he is as bad as he thought he was. And then it's just us like smacking ourselves in the face. Like, am I awake? Like pinch me. Like, is this real? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been like a nightmare. I mean, literally, it's been a nightmare. So, yeah. I like I said, I remember waking up the day after the election in Philly, and I'm going to wake up in that same place with a different result. I'm partying all the way back to Georgia.
So, but one thing I will say about Cube, his approach leaves a lot to be desired.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The reaction to this whole situation just serves as another reminder that, like, hey, I know right now ain't the time for us to have that conversation, but we gotta figure out a way to deal with the fact that we're not homogenous and we're not all always gonna agree.
Nope.
Other than just canceling
this. And that's fine. And that's fine. Like, because, I'll get to another point. I gotta run to the bathroom real quick, but Black people need to and I say this every time. I probably done said this 68,000 times on this show. Black people need to recognize the differences, and we need to realize that just because we got the same skin color and people hate us for it, does not mean that we're the same people. We have layers. We have all different types of folks with this melanin, and that's just the way it is. So we gotta address that. And there was a guy who tried to speak on that in Clubhouse, and he was just like, sometimes when people say certain things and they speak up, the crowd shouts them down because that's not what's acceptable from the group, and that's also
Right.
not cool. So even if you're like,
That's what I was trying
if
to say.
you're a
Yeah.
real Black Republican, you hold like true conservative values, not like you hate yourself. That's okay, and all this other stuff. I'll be right back.
We're gonna reset IG. We'll all be right back.
Do a commercial.
Commercial break. As I keep checking social media. It's still wild that the damn Washington football team is called the Washington football team. Bless you, boo. How come the restream link that pops up on Facebook doesn't actually give us like give you a link to watch it? Did you know that?
What?
Restream, I guess, generates an automatic post to the Facebook page that says tune in to the live taping of the Chopping Block podcast.
Yep, I wrote it.
But there's no actual link or video.
No, but then it does. Then Twitter sends out one.
Oh, okay, so we got to start like going into Facebook and doing that, I guess.
Why are you pausing socials?
No, we paused IG instead of he had to reset
Oh,
IG.
okay. I was like, wait, what? Nigga just had to go to the bathroom. They be all right. We
Because
live. We
I'm
live.
burden on me to have to talk, and I don't even know where the people at that I'm talking to. I
They
don't
on.
even know where the people at. I'm finna do the show. Can I do the rest of the show in my straight Atlanta voice? Can I just talk like this?
You got it. I
I
want
don't even
to.
know if it's an Atlanta voice or it's just a South voice. But
You just gotta
the
say.
King done dropped the new album,
Hmm?
and so I'm finna talk like this. The rest
Oh,
of
the cane.
the King. Yo, that skit about his beard. Whew! Anyway, all right, let's get back into the show, guys.
Did you see where they transposed his face on Damon Wayans?
No, I
Okay,
haven't been on the internet very much today.
it's on Royce the 5'9's Instagram. They transposed his face on Damon Wayans when he was doing like the he used to do the character like
Oh, he was the educated prison
educated
guy.
black. Yeah.
I feel like I've probably seen that before.
That shit's hilarious because it fits so naturally. Tip's face fits so naturally onto
Yeah.
the. Oh man, that's hilarious.
Shout out to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, shout out to my guy LeBron James, man. Like, um, the more y'all hate on that man, the more he achieves. Um,
Shout out to people who understand it's irrational to hate LeBron James but still hate Jay-Z.
yeah, but you know, it's that big energy. I don't know. That's how people are. Oh, look at Trump. He's on TV lying right now. U.S. is rounding the corner. We had 60,000 cases today, bro.
Yo,
We
man,
rounding no damn
I
corner.
just don't even like. I'm having enough trouble just trying to figure out how to get back into the world.
You know what the alternate title of this episode is? Who invited Uncle Donald to the White House?
No,
That's
we
the
know
fucking
who. We
yeah.
know who. We know who.
Because they're both trash.
We definitely know who. People who definitely think that are inferior, and so they really feel
But
like
here's the thing, right?
any white person could do a better job than the black man did.
Imagine if women get triggered
So
on an app.
let's get back onto this news. So real quick, this is oh wait, am I still here? Because I see Sis frozen and it's telling me my internet is unstable.
I see it the other way around.
That's funny. That's odd. So is it me or is it?
I see you frozen. That's
Okay, there
just
we go.
what I
Now
see.
you're moving.
Now you're moving. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I saw this headline and I didn't necessarily open it. But it says Diddy officially endorses Joe Biden, launches his own political party. And I just know, guys, no, we're good. This ain't the time.
that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, listen. Shout to your perceived or actual success. But the why do people, especially people in entertainment, and you know, Diddy's a problematic person. He's done a lot of shit that ain't cool. He's done a lot of shit that's great, which is normal. We celebrate people. You know, sometimes he's a hero, sometimes he's a villain. You know, I love
like most humans.
Right. I love Diddy, you know, and I mean the idea of Diddy. I don't know Diddy personally. I love what Diddy's achieved. I love to root for Diddy. I love a lot of the things that Diddy has brought about. But
that Harlem energy is hard to deny.
Absolutely. But why do these folks anoint themselves? I think that one of the things is that they think that because they've achieved they've been in certain rooms, because it's not even always about money. It's because you've been in certain rooms that you feel privileged to speak for Black people.
Right.
And
I have an answer as to why.
Well, let me just parallel real quick, and this is why I appreciate Hove a little bit more. He doesn't really spend a lot of time posturing and talking to us about what he's trying to do for Black people. He just does whatever it is that he thinks
needs to
be done, and puts his money where he feels it needs to go for him to make a difference. And I think we criticize him more because him and Beyonce don't talk to us about it.
Right.
You know, but you got all these other celebrities who are campaigning and posturing in the media instead of actually doing stuff.
So here's the reason why I think that these people anoint themselves. And you know that I'm very much a believer in championing people that do great work in the entertainment space. And even bigger than that, you know that it's a personal mission of mine to legitimize the business side of entertainment, right? And to make sure that we're having these conversations about the people that are making certain moves in the entertainment business, or the people that are opening certain doors, or the fact that, like, I don't know if I've ever said it on the show, but like, if I watch a movie with a kid, if I watch like a Marvel movie with my nephew, I make sure that we sit and actually, not just because we're waiting for the next, secret scene that we know is not a secret, but I want you to see how many jobs are involved in this movie being made. I want you to see that, like, outside of whatever the hair and makeup department, that there's a person who's assigned to the head person on this, the head actor, the lead actor on this show. I'm a champion of saying to kids, okay, you could be the rapper, but here's all the other things that go into getting that rapper where they need to go that you can do, right? If you're good with
Right.
numbers, you can be an accountant, whatever. However, I do think that part of the reason why a lot of these celebrities hype themselves up is that, we do have an unhealthy hero worship with just that side of things. With just that side of things. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we don't talk about nobody else doing any of the other things. Like, I want y'all to, if you haven't yet, go back and revisit that Time Magazine 100 list for this year and see how many Black and brown people are on there that are not politicians and that are not entertainers. Like, we got to stop making it seem like these are the only people that we have access to, or the only people that we can talk about or to. We got to stop, and people said it when the mayor here was, after the riots or whatever, and they were trying to appeal to young people, and they went and they got Killer Mike and Ti, and people were like, you didn't really have to do that. You could have got a business owner that wasn't Killer Mike.
Right. Well, I understand the appeal of celebrity, and it's not new to use celebrities because they have access to people that average people don't.
Right.
So, but when that person with the access makes it about them, that's when it gets weird. Like,
Yes.
use your platform to highlight others who are actually doing the work all the time.
Yes.
And that was once again, that was the problem with Ice Cube. Like, fam, defer.
You didn't have
Like,
to be
I understand your anger and your passion, and we get why. Nigga, you ain't
but
the
you didn't
only
have to be at the
one.
you didn't have to be at the forefront of that movement.
Right. I mean, even if you were, do it with other people who are actually out here every day. You know what I'm saying?
Like Killer Mike, the bank that he launched. We know it's not just his initiative,
Right.
because it would be a disservice to say it was just his initiative.
Exactly. Plus, he don't have
Why
this.
would it just be you?
Plus, he don't have the skill set. He not no banker.
He knows that.
You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, just like that, Ice Cube, you're not the person
Well,
in the point in the space to write a contract for Black America. And like I said, if
Sean Combs has launched a new political party. It is called it's called Our Black Party.
remember when these
And
things used to just be onion articles.
Diddy hopes, now this is very much on Billboard, hopes to focus on an agenda that's specifically tailored towards the needs of the African American community. The quote says, from a national, state, and local perspective, currently a lot of energy in terms of people wanting to do something. And our Black Party is one vehicle that can be used to corral collective energy. Okay, I'm not even going to finish reading this note.
So
Hey guys, real quick, before you go and start some new shit, maybe you figure out if other people are already doing the shit that you're trying to do and support them, especially when you have millions of dollars at your disposal and access to billions of dollars in other people's money.
but that's not what people want. It was just like the whole music thing, like why we got nothing done, right? Because somebody wanted to just be at the forefront of the conversation. Oh, I got the clout. I'm gonna be the one. So everybody went in these little cool rooms and started talking about what they were gonna do to fix the music business, without actually talking to a bunch of people that have already been doing those things or fighting for those things, or creating, like, these niggas are trapped in you're still trapped in that mentality that you have to be validated by these industries, right? That's one of the bigger overreaching problems is we still seek validation from we're not trying to break systems.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to figure out a way to get at the top of the system, or get something from the system, which is not a bad thing, but you can't scream freedom while you're a high paid slave. You just can't do it.
Mm. Let's get all the way out of politics. Oh wait, maybe not all the way.
Please.
Just real quick, Megan Thee Stallion wrote an op-ed for the New York Times, called why I protect Black women, or why I hold on. It's called oh shoot, of course they didn't have the name. But anyway, it's an op-ed. They made it's why I speak up for Black women. And the New York Times made a really big deal about it. They did a video with her to kind of promote it that was on social media, where she talked about how there's so many rules if you want to be a woman of color. There's so many things you're supposed to or not supposed to do. You can't be too loud, you can't be too sexual, you can't be too conservative, you can't do this, you can't do that. So I just wanted to shout her out. I know people have teams, but you and I also know that a lot of artists have failed to reach their full potential because no matter what the fuck their team said, they went and did what they wanted to do. I may or may not be talking about Onika. So we know that even if it's not necessarily her idea, she's still got to be the one to come in there and agree to do it and articulate it a certain way for them to make it seem, you know what I mean, for it to be executed the way that it was. So I just wanted to once again shout out the one celebrity who could maybe get me to join a cult, and that's Megan Thee Stallion. I'm not joining nobody's cults, fam. And then she did address the leprechaun, the Canadian leprechaun. So the day before yesterday, one of these bored ass, because you know that these celebrity gossip magazines are bored as fuck right now because ain't no red carpets, ain't no clubs, ain't no parties. Somebody captured a picture of Billie Eilish, an 18-year-old girl, gasp, in a tank top and sweatpants. And it was a whole thing. And I hated that it was a whole thing, but I hate even more that Billie Eilish felt like she had to respond to it. And the reason why I say I hated it is not because I don't feel like she has a right to respond. It's just I feel like one of the reasons why people fuck with Billie Eilish so tough is that she's always been so very clear about being herself and being comfortable in her skin and being comfortable being who she is. And the fact that y'all nudged her off that square bothers me.
Well, I think it was great that she did speak because the reason why I love Billie Eilish is because she, as a young woman, takes ownership of her celebrity and tries to use it to speak for those who don't have a voice, or for people who are going through the same type of situation. So, body shaming is crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous. But the fact that, she's trying to create an environment for young girls and young people, that's why I fuck with Billie. This was kind of weird. Like she's out for a stroll. But
to be clear, I hate the fact that the conversation today became Billie Eilish posts racy photo to hit back at body shamers. That's what I hate.
But that's not what it was. It was.
I know that. And like you said, if you follow Billie Eilish, which I don't, but I know enough to know.
But even if you look at the photo, with a lot of agency. But it's clickbait. That's somebody writing the title, so you'll look at it.
And that's the headline. That's a headline on like 4 different sites.
And then because it's the one that's going to make you click it. Like they have to compete. Because when I looked at it yesterday, I guarantee you, all 4 of them weren't the same, and the other 3 were like, "Oh, we got to change ours to match this one." Because that's the one that
no. Because yesterday it was different. Yesterday the conversation was, well, maybe it was yesterday. 2 days ago the conversation was, "Hey guys, like this is just a normal body, and y'all should stop tripping. Like there's nothing wrong." But then it also opened the door for the fact that, like they did with Miley Cyrus, like they did with Malia Obama, like they did with the Olsen twins. That there are literally people who sit on the internet and talk about counting down and waiting until a female celebrity is legal. And that shit is so gross.
Yes.
Y'all are fucking weird.
Well,
Anyway.
that's gross on a level way beyond the internet.
Yeah.
That's way beyond the internet. I think
Yeah.
that
No, absolutely. Because it's not you're right. It doesn't just happen on the
the
internet.
weirder part is Shorty was running down the block in the most comfortable, basic, big ass, H&M shorts, some damn,
I
slides.
like one of the sites was like Yeezy type shorts.
Right, and she had some slides on, and she just happened to have on a they call it a spaghetti strap. She had on a little shirt, fam, that everybody.
No. That's what it is. It's a cami, and most camis have spaghetti straps. That's what
Right,
they're called.
but I mean, they tried to
That's
make
the
it,
actual name
but
of
they
that.
tried to make it seem as if it was something that was racy or sexy. Like it wasn't nothing sexy about that shirt, fam. It was just a regular ass shirt. You done seen every woman you know got one of them
Have
damn
you ever
shirts.
seen the website? The website People of Walmart.
No.
There's a I think it's a social media account maybe called People of Walmart, and it's literally a whole bunch of pictures of the ways in which people dress to go to Walmart.
That
You
looked
never
like,
been into Walmart, you know how
but
entertaining that
it
shit can
looked like she was going to Walmart or some shit
be.
like
Yeah.
that. Like literally, like it was weird. I could see it. When somebody's out and they trying to get attention or whatever. She really like just threw something on. It was like, yo, if I throw something on, to go to Walmart or just
But
people.
see, the initial conversation wasn't even necessarily the raciness of that outfit. It was people fat shaming her.
Yes, and that's why it was weirder because y'all went from one extreme to the other. First, y'all like, oh my god, she's chubby, and then fat or whatever. She's in white girl world, she's not skinny. She's not a
Mm-hmm.
size 0. You know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
or a -5. And then from there it went to, oh, it's racy. You know what it
No,
is?
she posted a separate picture. That's what the racy one
Oh,
was.
she posted a separate
She
one.
responded and posted a picture that was a quote unquote racy picture
Oh.
because her whole thing was like, okay, do y'all want to go back to that? Like, what do y'all want to do? What do y'all want to do? Like, I can't go to the store in some sweats and a fucking t-shirt. Cool. Then, I'm going to be naked.
Okay, well.
That's what I meant when I was like, the fact that she had to just, even like, whatever. We live in weird times, I guess. It's okay.
No, we live in the same times. It's just
She also attached it. She also shared it along with a video from somebody that somebody else had posted on social media about normalizing bodies.
Times aren't weird. It's just the internet. That's it. It's the internet.
Internet. We're in the age of the internet. Anyway. The Billboard Awards also happened this week. I didn't watch them. Did you?
Nah, I seen it. I saw like I watched what's that child, the Doja Cat. I happened to catch her performance. I applaud her for trying to sing. She the rapping.
I'm sorry.
Which is not easy. It's not easy to, if anybody has performed, it's not easy to do choreography and sing simply because.
Oh, that's what you mean. That sounded like a way shadier statement than what you actually meant.
No. It was, she was like doing like a whole dance, like, going from one level, like stage, jumping on and off, and then doing like some other stuff. So it was like an intense dance. And then the song is like, it has a singing part and then there's a rapping part. So,
which song was it?
Say So. It was Say So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
did she have to catch her breath on the part where she was like, let me stop, let me catch my breath?
She might have. And then I think Lizzo did like a little speech or whatever. But no, I wasn't. I'm over these shows. Like
Killer
right
Mike
now.
got
I did see
award.
I did see Cher in her plastic surgery.
Oh. Damn, you meaner than me today, sis.
No, I was just like, wow. Cause you're like, damn, Cher, like you're like, it's like seeing Dolly Parton and you're like, it's almost like y'all like 70 years old getting things stapled. You know what I'm saying? Like it just, after a while it looks weird, and I've been, we've been looking at Cher for 50 years, So it's like Joan Rivers. I mean, we all knew that about Joan Rivers. So
Oh yeah, but you know that was her shtick was like, hey guys, my face, ain't been my face for a minute.
right. Well,
Um,
that's where Cher is.
and
So
it's fine. Let's get into some movie things real quick. Um, so I wanted to talk about Disney Plus for one reason. So we're gonna do it. So Disney Plus has added a label to Peter Pan, Dumbo, Fantasia, and Lady and the Tramp, and it is a warning at the beginning of the film that's on screen for 10 seconds that says this program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. These stereotypes were wrong then and are wrong now. Rather than remove the content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together. Disney is committed to creating stories with inspirational and aspirational themes that reflect the rich diversity of the human experience around the globe. Now, as I'm going through my brain trying to think of these movies, like I don't think I've ever seen Fantasia in full. It's been a very, very long time since I've watched Dumbo or Lady and the Tramp. But the part that they're talking about in Peter Pan specifically, I know, is the depiction of Native Americans. And the reason why I find it interesting, maybe it's necessary, maybe it's a good opportunity for parents or giving parents an in to have a certain conversation with their kids. But I never felt or thought any kind of way about anybody based on what the fuck was in a Disney movie. Did you?
well, you didn't.
Other than the Cinderella
Well,
complex.
here's the thing: you didn't outwardly do it. I mean, and
Okay.
that's the thing. Like that's how inherent bias
Oh, I know which
happens.
part of Lady and the Tramp. Sorry.
But that's how inherent bias is developed. You know, just naturally. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh my god, that's crazy. It's just normalizing certain things. Like for years, we've normalized looking at indigenous people in a certain way, and it's been okay. So on every level, most Americans had a viewpoint like niggas still said Indians when talking about indigenous people up
And still say
until
red dot and still say red dot or feather when somebody says somebody is Indian. I'm sorry.
um okay, so I heard that from an actual Indian person the first time I heard that. So I'm not
And we
gonna
all got it from fucking Jay-Z's ass. God damn it.
um
That fucking Blueprint album is so problematic, yo.
no, I mean it's history. I don't believe history is problematic. I believe history's history.
Okay.
And
That's a
and
that's a that's a very, very valid way of
we
looking at it.
and it's also why I don't believe in censorship or erasing history. I think Disney did the exact right thing on this one, because we need teachable moments. Like you can't like we you learn from history. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So you have to know what was wrong to do the right thing going forward. And calling out a lot of these movies, and saying like, "Hey, this depiction wasn't it. This wouldn't fly today." We need to do that more. We need to stamp more things like that. Like, yo, hold up. You're about to watch this show from 1988. This wouldn't be cool today. We can go through a million movies we watch. We can go through.
Mhm.
Uh,
We can go through the fact that Coming to America is getting a Coming to America too, and there was not a single African person playing an African person in that whole damn movie. I'm chilling. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's no big deal. It's no big deal.
yeah. So
I
we.
know it's the funny thing is the scene they're probably referring to in Lady and the Tramp is probably one of the catchiest songs in that whole movie. And I've caught myself not singing it on purpose many times.
Well, yeah. Disney is just like anything else. It evolved with the times.
Right.
I watched the old episodes of Mickey Mouse Club. It's a bunch of little white kids. It's not representative, but we knew that. We knew back then, like when you was watching TV shows like the Patty Duke and Dobie Gillis, like it wasn't no black people on TV. Like if it was a black person on TV, he was the damn milk guy, or you know what I'm saying? Like he was the shoe
Oh, you talking
shine
about the
person,
original Mickey Mouse Club?
or whatever. Yeah, oh yeah,
Oh
like the
yeah, yeah.
'50s. Net Funicello, Mickey Mouse Club. I mean, it was a while
Or
before they
Annette
got.
Funicello movie. It's so crazy because like I used to watch a lot of those old Annette Funicello movies and the original Parent Trap and all this other
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And yeah, no, there was definitely no representation at
And
all.
at the end of the day, things evolve, and that's why representation and having black faces and having different people represented properly matters. It's not about erasing what happened. It's about moving forward. And for these, for kids now to not be used to the things that we were used to as kids that we now know are not the wave. And that's how societies continue to evolve. So yeah, I'm good with
The
that.
answer is not remaking things, though, guys.
No, that's not an answer. I'm not.
Reposting.
I'm not against remaking things, but if you remake things for that purpose, that's
Yeah.
definitely not the answer. Nah.
The other Disney Plus thing that we saw is apparently Disney shareholders are trying to encourage Disney to release Black Widow direct to Disney Plus like they did with Mulan.
So here's my thing with that, and I'm just going to speak on this from the totality of Marvel, right? We haven't had a Marvel movie this year, and I don't think we should have one. I think that we should let Marvel, and I'm talking about because they got all this content ready to go, and the schedule that they have currently just looks a little bit more healthy for theaters, for people, and just for like making sense. Like, remember when a Marvel movie came out every 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they could do that again. So
they have enough stuff ready to go.
Oh
to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we just need to chill. And I listen. I want to see Black Widow tomorrow. I want to see that shit right now. I want to see it yesterday. I'm that big of a fan, but I'm okay with what's going on and the possibility of getting back in theaters safely and seeing this movie and seeing these movies the way they're supposed to be. If they drop it on Disney Plus, of course I'm gonna watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I just feel like we can have patience on this one because I saw the schedule and I was like, okay, this is dope. This will come out, and that'll come out, and that'll come out, and we can get back to rolling. We needed a break anyway. We had Disney went ham from 2013 to 20. Well, especially I'd say from 2016 to 2018, we had a Disney movie every month, damn near. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
And then now, they've already talked about the Avatar thing every other year for the next 8 years. And what's the other one that they're
I don't know why they
doing every year?
Yeah,
it's Avatar and something else where they're literally like they're gonna do 3 more, and here's where they're coming out, and it's gonna be.
We don't even have the second one. We haven't had the second one, and God knows when.
No. The second one is ready.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we don't have the second one. And
it was supposed to come out.
The gap between the first one, but the gap between the first one and the second one are like.
Yeah, it's been 10 years.
Avatar is Avatar is what they expect to be a cash cow. That's why they're so like, yo, we're gonna release this, that. Like, bro, it's been a decade. It's been a decade. Like, and I'm not saying like I don't care about that movie. I know like it did a bunch of numbers or whatever, but it's also one of the movies that we all look back like, yo, that movie was dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I like that movie.
That movie was dumb. That movie was absolutely dumb. You want to slap a label on something? White man goes and culturally appropriates of a damn culture of indigenous
and then saves it's a white hero. It's a white savior.
Exactly.
Movie.
So
over and over and over again.
Yeah, that movie's been so trashed over the last decade or whatever. But if another one comes, that's fine.
I'll say this though. When they announced that they were not going to release because they pushed Mulan back, because in March we all thought we'd be back outside by summer. So they pushed it back, and finally they decided to release it direct to Disney Plus. And it was $30 for the early access, which now you can access it without paying that extra $30, right? At that time, the people at Disney were very, very careful to say, we're not going to keep doing this. We're just, this is just a one-time thing. We're just going to see how it goes. But this is not like our new thing. This is not our new release model.
Right.
So the fact that the investors at Disney are trying to push for that to be the model for the next movie proves that no matter how many people sat back and was like, shit, I ain't paying no damn $30 to watch Mulan. Clearly, a lot of you motherfuckers paid $30 to watch Mulan.
But here's the thing, right? That's an economic decision. And Disney's smart because we're in a pandemic. We don't know when or we're gonna be cleared to go back outside.
Mm-hmm.
The investors just want to get money.
Yeah.
So they're like, yo, put that shit out. Um,
Put the record out, fam.
but I think Disney, because Black Widow is gonna it do $1 billion
Right.
in the movies. So do you put it out, get 200 million real quick, or do you wait and get that big, big, big bag?
So do you think for these movies that they are releasing like direct to on demand or whatever, when outside opens back up for real, for real, for real, and it's really safe for us to be back outside and back in the movie theaters, do you think they're re-releasing these things to IMAX?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. Mulan is a movie that's made for big screen,
Mm-hmm.
visually stunning.
Mm-hmm.
So
I definitely watched it on a like on a projector screen outside of somebody's house.
yeah, people are gonna want to see that um, in the theaters, and they should. So like we're okay with this, but we got to be clear. We're doing what we have to do based on what the current situation is, and we don't know what's gonna happen after that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then last on like the news tip, I just wanted to I feel like we may have had a conversation about it one time, but I just wanted to shout out once again the music team behind Lovecraft Country. Because they're not I don't think that those conversations are happening enough about the music. And the reason why I can say that is because the LA Times wrote an article about the latest episode in which the music director and their team actually wrote an opera, a opera requiem for that scene. If you Nah, fuck that. It's Friday. If you was into Lovecraft like that and you haven't watched last week's episode and this week is the finale, I'm sorry for you if this is a spoiler, but um for that scene where Letty's trying to make it back to the portal, there's an opera that's being sung in the background, and so there was a whole article in the LA Times about how that opera was written, about the fact that like most of the musicians were recording their parts in their own individual homes. So the opera singer who performs the song, her name is, oh my god, why don't I ever have this stuff right in front of my face, you guys? I'm sorry. I'm so
Also,
sorry.
shout the music suit, Liza Richardson,
The who?
the music suit, Lovecraft Country.
Okay. My bad, my bad. Her name is Janae Brugger, and she's a soprano. And so they wrote it kind of with her in mind. She recorded her part in her apartment at home. Then, like all of the other musicians, just like it's been for everything else that's on the show, that's not already released, right? That's not already pre-recorded music. The stuff's created for the show has been recorded at home. So it's a really good article about that in the Los Angeles Times. But the Los Angeles Times referred to Raphael Sadiq, who is also part of the music team for who scores the show with Elizabeth Cartman. Is that what you said? No, you said somebody else.
Liza Richardson.
Liza Richardson. So this was the article was focused on Laura Cartman, who is a composer. So she composed that requiem, and Raphael Sadiq is part of the team, and they referred to him as one-time R&B artist.
Who referred to him that
The
way?
LA Times.
Oh, you know.
I mean, no, but come on, man, it's the LA Times.
Yeah. Well,
But anyway, the show is amazing. If you're into that type of thing, because I'm understanding from the internet this week that everybody's not into that type of thing, and
mm,
people still don't know how to let people enjoy things that they don't enjoy.
well, that's always pick a show. So
Pick a anything.
it's always been that way. But
Show,
primarily
drink,
with shows that people like in
movie,
mass.
music, restaurant, video game, wrestler, football team, rapper, LeBron James. Anyway,
Uh, shout out to
um,
everybody on my Dexter fans. Dexter's coming back, so excited about that.
and Coming to America too has been picked up by Amazon. Is it for $125,000? I mean, $125 million.
I
Excuse
was
me,
about to say, damn.
billion.
I was about to say
$100.
125,000. Shit, I could have picked it up.
Oh, word! I got a script about coming to America.
If it's gonna make me what a movie should make, yeah, let's talk.
All right. So we missed the releases last week because we kind of had a short show and we didn't get a chance to talk about a lot of them. So, and then this week has some good stuff that's come out. So we talking albums first or singles first?
Let's talk albums first.
Okay, okay. We starting with last week or this week?
Let's start with last week.
Cool beans. So one Trey Songz quietly dropped an album. I didn't know that was happening, did you?
I did because my friends are producers and they've made some of the stuff on there. So Cardiac did Back Home with Hitmaker and Chris Sean. So
Shouts
yeah.
to Cardiac and freaking Hitmaker, man. Like it's so weird to me to hear that Hitmaker drop on like every third song on a fucking album.
Man's is out here working. You
Out here
know?
working.
And
That's a career
he's
path.
collaborating. I mean, he found his lane. He's given opportunities to other creators. You know, it's working for folks. So
So Trey Songz album is called Back Home. It was released on October 9th. It is his eighth studio album. I didn't imagine it, according to one Courtney Carroll at freemusiccredits.com. He didn't announce the album until October 4th.
yeah.
There's a song called Back Home featuring Summer Walker, and the video for that song is like, home video footage of Trey playing with his little boy. Um, he dropped what three singles ahead of the actual project.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Go ahead and run through. So you said Cardiac did a bunch, as did Hitmaker. What else stood
Yeah.
out about that album?
Um, you know, it's weird because I was having a conversation with a homie. We're like, yo, have you ever listened to a whole Trey Songz album? So the album is executive produced by Troy Taylor, who is a legend who discovered him 20 years ago. So shout out to Troy Taylor who lives here. My dude Fresh Air is also on there. Jay Oliver, who is Troy Taylor's his big homie. Um, you know, you got the 2020 Riots joint on here. Circles is a really, really dope track. It's a lot of different vibes. I mean, if you want to listen, you know, we talked about grown up R&B. You want to hear some grown up R&B, don't get more grown up than Trey Songz.
I mean, which is so weird because remember when Trey Songz was the young boy that just came out?
Exactly, yeah. But now he's the elder statesman, and you know, when we get to the singles portion, we'll talk about the Marion record, and it's kind of the same thing. Like these guys, we watched them grow up. We watched them grow up as people. So we watching a video of Trey Songz and his kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, this is what Trey Songz is now. You know what I'm saying? When he used to be, you know, the playboy. But now, you know, he's making songs about being, you know, faithful and family and riots and all that stuff and legit real things. So it's a dope album. But gotta give it up to Troy Taylor, man, because Troy Taylor's a legend and the people that he brought together. And this is why having an executive producer of a project is so important, especially somebody know what they're doing, because it gives you a cohesive body of work while still working with a bunch of people. So there's a lot of people who put in on this. You got AO, you got AO and Keys, you got Hitmaker, you got, you know, Troy Oliver, you got Stacey Owens, you got Jonta Austin, you got a bunch of different folks who worked on this project, but it feels like it's all succinct. And I believe it's only 4 features on here. You got Summer Walker, Sway Lee, Ty Dolla $ign, and David O. So yeah, but man, it's a good album. So if you want to listen to some R&B, man, you know, you taking a ride or you know with your lady or your husband or your partner or whatever, Like this is a good bop, and it's got some movement to it too. It's not all like super slow, whatever. So
Sounds to you just
yeah,
not even giving us single people a reason to listen to the album. Sheesh, man.
don't listen to it, single people. No. This ain't for you. No, I'm just like
This ain't for y'all. This ain't for y'all at
this ain't for
all.
you. Yeah.
What else was last week? Was this Black Thought joint? Was that last week or this week?
No, that's this week. So last week we also
Got an old new album by Rari.
got an old new album from Rari, which was a deluxe. I'm not sure exactly how many joints they added to that.
Because we didn't even realize the original dropped last October.
Right. So TDE got an album out. Reason finally got his album release date. So he dropped New Beginnings, which features a bunch of the TDE homies. It also features Rhapsody, Vince Staples, JID, Mariba, also. So yeah, this is his debut album, and his second official release.
This is his debut album.
Yes, I think we put out before was like an EP or something.
Because I feel like we've been talking about Reason for so long.
Yeah, so yeah, you know, my brother Nabian's on this joint, so shout out to him. Smokey Got Beats, who's actually from New Zealand, is on this joint. My guy Mars, Illmind, Mike and Keys, the whole, you know, that's that whole 1500 fam and stuff. So shout out to them. Yeah.
Okay, so then and then Party Next Door, was that this week?
Yes.
Y'all gotta understand, I apologize. I really, really honestly, like, I know we joke about this every time that we do the show. We'd be like, it feels like it's been the longest week ever. I really don't know what day today is. I honestly
so before we get to that, also Rock Nation dropped a compilation album called Reprise, a Rock Nation album, and it's a social justice geared album featuring tracks from Ombre and Clemens, the homie from Jersey. Excuse me, Vic Mensa, Rhapsody, the 12 Problems joint is on here, and a bunch of other artists, AJ Tracy, Georgia Smith from over in England as well. Features Buddy, Malik Youssef, Ty Dolla $ign, thinking about Obama. So, you know, make sure y'all go check that out.
Hey, y'all know I stand Ty Dolla $ign. I love Ty Dolla $ign. That was just a hard no in less than 30 seconds, you guys.
Yeah, so yeah, give it a spin. But, you know, it's definitely got that political energy though.
Yes.
Definitely got that energy. So shout out to Rock Nation for that. And they got Don Cannon's on that joint, Charlie Be Real, who's actually my homegirl's husband, a musician, dope producer out there in LA. Shout out to my folks out there. Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Cosigns on this joint. Rants is on that joint. My brother Siege, The Monstrosity, got a joint from Skrillex on there also.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
Nice. So then this week, and Benny was this week, yeah?
Benny was this week. So moving to this week.
So yeah, I don't know where we are.
So yeah, Benny came in with Burden of Proof. And it features Rick Ross, Freddie Gibbs, Big Sean, Lil Wayne, Dom Kennedy, Queen Naija, of course Conway, and West Side Gun. You know what I'm saying? And this is
and it comes 2 weeks after West Side Gun dropped his album.
Yes. And this album is once again brought to us by Hit Boy, who's having a hell of a year.
Is this the album where he was talking about there was a beat on there that was supposed to have been on Watch the Throne?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Which beat was it?
I don't know exactly which one it is. So I think we did the Timeless single with Big Sean, Lil Wayne last week, which was pretty dope. This project is fire, man. Like, I don't know, I'm just a Benny fan. And shout
out to Sis and his goddamn SEO capabilities, because like, you think he's joking when he tells you that if you search any album name and credits that the first option that's going to come up is
Because
freemusiccredits.com.
nobody else cares. Like,
I searched Benny the Butcher Burden of Proof credits and streams, and the first thing that came up.
because like I said,
Shouts to Young Darren.
yeah, we and Michelangelo, we just trying to bring spotlight to the creators, man. Like that shit matters to us, the people who put together these projects. So, once again, man, this is a fire piece of work. Griselda, doing their thing. Shout to Empire on the distro side, label
And the
side.
whole thing, just in case that wasn't clear, the whole thing's produced by Hit Boy.
Yes, with
The whole thing,
yeah, with a little help from his homeboy G Rye, who was also popped up on the Nas joint and the Big Sean joint, and then the homie Jansport J too. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fire. The joint with Rick Ross is dope, but the joint with Freddie Gibbs is filthy. Ooh, that's One Way Flight. I don't know. It's funny because Freddie Gibbs is one of the most entertaining rappers, just period. You know what I'm saying? And him and Benny are very. They remind me of each other. You know what I mean? So
that's out, and then Black Thought finally dropped his album.
Finally.
Which he had, and we say finally, but obviously he delayed it for valid reasons.
Absolutely.
But Streams of Thought 3 is out now. Came out last night.
Mm-hmm.
And
got that Good Morning joint with Killer Mike, Pusha T, Swizzy. You know what I'm saying? It's some good lineups on this joint. That's my record though, right there. I mean, clearly, you got Killer Mike, and Pusha T, and Black Thought on the record.
Yeah.
The joint with Schoolboy Q is pretty fire. Steakum. Shout to Steakum, the most politically correct brand on Twitter right now.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Steakum. Interesting. What is Steakum tweeting?
Common sense.
Or are they just staying away from dumb shit?
No, they're speaking like Steakum has become like
the anti-Wendy's.
No, they've become an educator in this time of COVID-19. Really? It's actually pretty interesting because I think they talk to the guy who actually tweets for them. Mm-hmm. So they just say basic stuff. Most people have a hard time managing cognitive dissonance, aka the state of holding inconsistent beliefs. Everyone does this, but it's difficult to confront. No one wants to acknowledge their own hypocrisy or be called out for it, so they shield themselves from the possibility. That is a tweet from Steakum.
Interesting. Definitely not what I was expecting.
Right.
Okay. All right. I've really been, we've been tiptoeing through all of this. Party Next Door decided to drop an EP off called Party Pack that is really just a collection of shit that's already been released. Yes. And one of the songs, which is probably the one that most people are going to be talking about, is a joint featuring Nipsey Hussle.
Mm-hmm.
Came out 7 years ago, and as far as we could tell, there's no change between the old one and the new one, right?
Not really. No.
Was the old one like an official release?
No, it's actually the same thing. No, it was just a leak.
Oh, okay.
They had, Jason Reddick of ASCAP posted a article, and I forget what site it was on, but it was about a hacker who, his thing, he hacks and releases music like leaks, and he was talking about how much they go for.
That was like very, very heavy at one point, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this is how we got Jay Electronica's out, and they're like, I think that he might have said that was a $9,000 leak or $20,000. I forget what it was, but he's out here.
You're putting a price value on the leak. What does that mean?
Well, the kids have it's like an economy. It's like people selling sneakers.
Oh.
So I think he's done like little Uzi leaks. It was like a 17-year-old kid telling this story about, how he got into it and the little forums and, he got deeper into it and he started making money. But he basically said he does it because he loves music and he just wants it to be out. And it was crazy because by the end of the article, you're almost like, yo, I feel him. Like, even though, he like going to people's Gmail boxes and shit, you're almost like, yo, but I dig it because he was passionate. And he's a kid. He's like, I'm 17. He knows he's gonna get caught. He's literally like, yo, I got homies that are, going to jail, getting caught doing these things.
So was he doing was he doing this interview anonymously?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Because I was really sitting here trying to figure it out. Like,
yeah, nah, yeah, it was anonymous. So,
all right. Well, Tip dropped an album.
He did. The Libra.
Ti to you non-ATLians.
It is called The Libra.
A lot of interesting features on there for me.
The legend is back running Atlanta. Tip is also a Libra. His birthday was September 25th. That was kind of cool. The legend is back running Atlanta. Definitely a lot of cool features on here.
Why y'all ain't got it up?
Because Tip did not release. Because
that's not Atlantic. He's not Atlantic.
No,
right?
They did not release credits.
Huh.
Now, mind you, something told me to say, hey, Todd, can we get the credits for this in advance? Because I felt like it was going to come out without the credits. Now, I know I could have just...
You want to try to get them now?
Contacted folks. Yes.
Okay.
Y'all got to do better with these credits, man.
I mean, maybe the general consensus from people is that people don't care.
Well, it ain't about what people. It's about the creatives, the people who made the music care. Like, fam, if I wrote a song, like, this is my resume.
Credits aren't even on.
No, they're not on Tidal.
On Spotify.
No, they're not on anything. They literally didn't release them, and I'm sure, like,
I heard Hitmaker on about every other song.
And they might, but with other people. That's the thing. Like, you hear Hitmaker, but he's not the one that actually produced the track.
I heard Hitmaker and Junior Genius on 2.
I definitely did hear those. Yeah, so
and shouts to Hitmaker.
But you gotta.
We gonna get it. We gonna get him, and we gonna figure it out.
But but I can't overstate the importance of crediting producers, engineers, writers, composers for their work. Like, my man Bobby Sessions wrote with Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, if it wasn't there, you wouldn't know. That's a big thing. Yeah. And that's a big thing that might lead to somebody coming like, yo, I need you for some more work.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big thing. Like, you hear something that's fire, even if it's an indie artist, they hear a beat you did for somebody, they might want to come spin with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you did that track's crazy. Let me go find him and see how much he charged for a beat.
Yes.
Or that mix is crazy. Let me see how much the engineer charged for a mix. So this is basically people's resumes, and it's super important. That's why I do the credit shit, because we need to know who these people are. They need to be in SEO. They need to be searchable. They need to be, to be found. Because the problem with Tidal and all that stuff is they don't show up in search indexes.
They don't. And also, it's a very tedious process for you to go through every single song and pull it up and look at it, and then go back and then pull up the next song and look at it and then go back.
Absolutely. And even when you got these libraries like Discogs and all that stuff, like, that's a user generated site. But then you have APIs, and all those APIs mostly are behind firewalls. So you got companies like Grace Note and Nielsen and all that stuff, and even Jaxsta. You got to be like a Jaxsta Pro member to see certain things or whatever. If you Google these, this is why it's so easy for us to, when you Google these things and we write about them, for us to pop up, because nobody cares. Nobody else really cares.
What we do have is an extensive list of features. There's a feature on almost every single song. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, there's a feature on every song. It's just the extent to which they're featured.
It's one.
Put something on it.
It's like 2.
It doesn't happen.
There's nobody on Horizons. But everyone else has a feature, and they all fit the feature.
Feature that's really just an interlude.
Right. Yeah. She's doing like a poem, spoken word.
I know I may be biased, but Damani is featured on the song Family Connect. And Damani definitely killed his dad on that track. I'm sorry. He did.
Are we still doing, we're still doing those types of comparisons on people?
I mean, it's 2 people on a verse. Like, y'all are forever beating me over the head with the fact that Eminem killed Jay-Z on
That
Renegade, so
was
we
that was goofy then.
okay. Well, shit. I definitely was more impressed with Damani's verse. I felt. Let me not put it that way. I felt like Ti came with a different energy, probably because of the way Damani was coming.
I enjoyed Damani's story
Right.
and the
I didn't
way
like the beat though.
I had no problem with the beat, but I really enjoyed Damani's story, talking about himself, and I felt like it was an opportunity for him to be seen, and
Yes.
that was dope. But he did, for him to say, "Yo, went on my own at 18 like that. I know you got it, but I wanted to do it, by myself, and earn my own respect and all that kind of stuff." Like that was the thing that really stood out to me about that track. So salute to Damani on that.
And also
Um,
Tip responding to that by saying, that he had to respect it, and you as a father want to do for your child, and you as a father did all these things to be able to provide for your children. And as a man, having to look at your child who is very much like you and respecting that he wants to go out there and do his own thing.
Now here's the crazy thing, right? I'm on Genius, and they have features listed, they got producers listed, but they don't have them under the songs.
Interesting.
So sometimes they be making shit up too.
That's funny.
Well, it's
Um,
because once again it's user submitted. So
yeah. Um, Conway, I think impressed me on here.
yo, listen, when he started going in on that trap beat, I was like, yo, he killed
Yeah.
it. Nasty, but I mean, Griselda kept saying like, don't put us in a box.
Yep.
We fuck with everything. And he literally killed that joint. I was like, wow. I was super impressed by that record. Benny the Butcher and Jada.
Yeah, I
You
fucked with
know,
that one too.
Ti ages so well musically.
And see, this is what I felt about this album. I felt like this album, unlike the last one, like the last one, Tip was like, I'm still here. But then this time he was like, no, I'm still here. And let me just stand next to some of your faves so y'all can understand that, like, I'm still fucking here. Like, I'm not, like, y'all not gonna granddad me into, no, like, I am a current and relevant artist. And that's what I really appreciate about that. Like, I feel like this is a good, solid, like, we gonna hear a few of these joints for a while type of project.
Yeah. I mean, and I really enjoyed the last project that he put out, but I definitely feel you. I don't know. This one just it feels good. Um, it feels natural. But like I said, I feel like Tip has always brought it to the table when it was time to come to the table. He might be doing other things, but ultimately for me, you always gonna know that Tip is a rapper. Like you're always gonna know, no matter what else he does, this
Yeah.
is this is what he does.
And
This
it
is
never
what
feels forced.
right. This is what he was brought to do. When he in the studio, you could tell he a student of the game. And even on his 11th studio album, he's still getting it in. So and I didn't say that because of Dina.
I mean, let me tell y'all a cheat code um for both Sis and I. When people that we know and love drop whack shit, we just don't talk about it. Rather than for us to come up here and be like, "Oh my god, this shit was amazing," we just won't mention it, or we'll
Nope.
gloss
Nope,
right over it,
nope.
or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, such did that. All right, cool. See you later.
So you ain't never got to worry about us lying about nothing. I fuck with Tokyo Jets, man. I just wanted to say
I
that.
really like that track too. Hit Dog Holler. Yeah, that was a good one.
I definitely fuck with Tokyo
And I
Jets. All
must
right.
really fuck with it because I wasn't even looking. And I remember the name of that song, but no, I mean, honestly, it's a bunch of different vibes on here. I like albums, even in 2020, where no matter who you are, you can go find some shit for your playlist. You can find some things for various playlists on here. Good
Mhm.
songs. I'm telling you, solid album. So I'm not going to the party tonight because I'm not trying to catch COVID. But if you're around, you're in the city of Atlanta. The party's tonight at the Gold Room. So y'all be safe.
Oh, it's a party. Like it's not even a private event. It's fine, guys. I'm not even gonna talk about child being outside no more. Y'all are outside and I'm not.
Listen,
The more I talk about y'all being outside, the more I start to feel like maybe something's wrong with me.
I trust my folks to be, to do what y'all need to do to, stay safe. So y'all do that.
Y'all keep doing that. Real quick on the single tip, Sada Baby's a whole lot of chop on your head. In case you, like I, were wondering whose song that is, it's Sada Baby's song. And he got a remix featuring Nicki Minaj that dropped yesterday.
It's cute.
That's the song that sounds like "Whoop There It Is."
Yes, it does sound like "Whoop There It Is."
Because it is like, and it almost sounds like it's some shit that somebody made up on TikTok over the "Whoop There It Is" beat. That's what I thought it was for the longest.
Yeah.
I saw the most disrespectful usage of that meme, which was somebody made it into a video of the Kennedy assassination.
What?
Yeah, like the first part is Kennedy, and then when he goes to the boom, whole lot of choppers on your head, it switches over to the guy who killed him.
All right, I'm done.
I was like, y'all are out of control. That's out there. Nikki talks about being pregnant on there. Nikki had a baby boy. I think it was last week, and that's all she's confirmed is that it was a boy.
Cool.
And she did it. Yo, you gotta be a motherfucker when niggas announce their big deals in life by showing the note or the gift that you sent them. So Nikki's acknowledgement of delivering her son was a handwritten note from Beyonce. That's what she took a picture of and posted. Nikki seems to be back in her rapping bag. I saw rumors this week that Nikki and Cardi B may have a song coming up.
I heard that. We'll see.
Having a baby will humble you.
Yep.
Change your perspective on life. We listened to a few other joints. I want you to pick 3 that you really fuck with that we can talk about real quick. Because we said we weren't doing no more 2-hour shows, and here we are.
Yeah. The next show we're gonna do an hour of music because I want to really get to talk about that. But I think so I'm really happy about Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder dropped 2 joints. So I'm just gonna talk about them together. He's got a joint called "Where's Our Love Song" featuring Gary Clark Jr., which is just him kind of talking about things that are going on today. And then "Can't Put It in the Hands of Fate" featuring Busta Rhymes, Rhapsody, Corday, Chica, also. And that is a really, really, really dope record. To hear Stevie, it has like a go-go-ish feel too.
Really?
To hear Stevie rocking out with the young folk and then Busta on there too, doing some work on that joint. That's a really, really, really cool record. Yeah, that record's fire. Also,
I love to see our OGs like still out here and being active.
Oh yeah, Stevie left Motown, so that was a big deal too because he's been with them for 60 years. So, well,
yeah, bro. See, yeah. And the other person I was going to refer to was Glenn Turman, because the flyers came out today, or the poster came out today for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is the last project that Chadwick Boseman worked on. And it stars Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman and Glenn Turman. So Glenn Turman has been like, he was in Cooley High. He was the OG on
he's on the Hillman. I said Hillman.
The Hillman.
Different World.
So I went to go look up Glenn Turman, thinking Glenn Turman is like old as Moses, right? That man is 73 years old. But
that's kind of old as Moses. It's just weird because we expect them to be older, but that's just
right.
That's our distorted view.
I definitely thought he was going to be older than that, but 73 is my father's age.
Right. That's our view because we grew up watching these folks. Like when we saw Glenn Turman, he was already a grown ass man,
right.
When he played.
But also, he's another one like Stevie Wonder who started really, really young. He started at the age of 12.
Yeah.
He's been acting professionally since he was 12.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it feels like he's been, that's why it feels like he's old.
But he's been around forever. He's done a lot of work. Yep. So.
All right, so you go. So those 2 you say count as one.
Kelly Rowland in her Donna Summers bag with this crazy record. Have you heard it?
No, I haven't.
It features Beyonce.
Okay.
But it's a disco record. Let me tell you something. This is Kelly's lane. Like, man. It's an amazing record. Because I didn't expect Beyonce because it doesn't say featuring Beyonce.
Right.
So you're like listening, and then it's like, oh shit, wait, what, is that Beyonce? And it's a bop. That shit's a whole bop. Um,
Okay.
so yeah.
And
The,
number three.
ooh, this is tough. So I'm gonna mention some without talking about them, and
Okay.
then I'll get to my third one. So I just,
Okay.
um, Diamond Choker, which is Nar featuring Uzi Vert, Leon Bridges and Lucky Day, All About You. Justin Bieber's got a new joint with Benny Blanco called Lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are all records you should listen to, along with
Okay.
Maroon 5 and Popcorn sounding like Maroon 5 on the Nobody's Love remix. And then Diplo, Kalo K. But the record that I really want to talk about is called Kalo K.
You hit us with the knives on that first go around. It's cool though. I ain't gonna talk about you.
Because I didn't want to try to be, you know what? Because it's
Nah.
so for me, like, it's weird because like I hate when niggas try to be all like I know Spanish pronunciation. I have kids in here that are in Spanish classes, so we talk about the pronunciation, the proper pronunciation of Spanish words all the time. It's weird to say it out loud around people that aren't Spanish.
Do it. Listen, I'm about to start pronouncing all the things that I know how to pronounce properly. That's what I'm doing.
No, I'm just out here doing my white version. I'm
So, Hello que by
gringo Spanish. Kalo Quay.
Quelo Quay.
Qualo Quay.
Quelo
All right, so
and then on the title it's all together too. So that makes it even more confusing.
so also got to shout out Omarion for this involved, and I got to talk about two.
Okay.
OT Genesis has a
Yes.
record with Charlie Wilson and Chris Brown, produced by Hitmaker and my guy Bongo, by the way. And it's basically a remix of Outstanding with Charlie
Yes.
Wilson singing Outstanding. It's called Back to You. OT Genesis is a fucking fool, bro. Like, he
Listen,
just be saying goofy shit, and
but
but
also
it's so hard.
OT Genesis clearly understands that he could never ever give us an actual whole album and we'll be okay because he keeps giving us a fire single every 18 months or so.
Absolutely, and this record is fun. His flow is fun. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's an enjoyable joint. So like,
He went and got real singers instead of trying to sing it himself.
but yo, listen, if we was at the cookout and they like play Outstanding and then they switch to this version, you'd still be bopping.
Mm-hmm.
That's the kind of parties I want to go to. And I want to go to the parties where they play the old hits and then they switch it to the new trap versions of them, or the
Mm-hmm.
new two
Like
thousands
how they Before I Let Go Us to Death after Beyonce dropped her version.
exactly. I'm
Because
here
they
for
understood that none of us wanted the first part, but we did want that breakdown.
yes, I'm here for that.
We want to hear the old version and then the Beyonce breakdown and the horns.
Exactly. So, and the final record that I'm gonna talk about is Preem and Popcorn. Preem is of OVO ilk. He is the resident OVO yardman. Popcorn featuring David O. It's called Comfortable. Um, it is a club friendly love bop. It has all the reggae and Afrobeat mashup vibes that you want to hear. It's nice and smooth. It rides in the car. Makes me feel like I want to be back on an island, but also like laid up with like something nice. So, yeah, that's it. Oh, also, gotta shout out this. So Styles P got a record with Ghostface and Remy Ma. It's from the Netflix show about that lady. It's like
Netflix movie.
Netflix
Yeah,
movie.
the,
Was
the
it
40-year-old version.
yeah, the 40-year-old version, and it's called The Mecca.
The
So,
Mecca.
yeah.
And when I heard that song, I felt like one, I will tell you guys this. 12 years ago, I just randomly had like conversations in one summer with Heavy D, Easy Mo B, Big Daddy Kane, and Rev Run. This was like when I was writing news for All Hip Hop. So, we used to do really good. We our motto, and this is one thing that I really wish that, like, and I understand obviously the media industry has shifted, and that a lot of the things that we're having issues with is lack of resources. But our motto is always, if we're going to run a news story and we know there's something everybody else is going to cover, what can we get that everybody else doesn't have? And so I had the honor and the opportunity to interview these people and like sit on the phone with Heavy D for an hour when I was really just calling to talk to him about one thing that had just happened, right?
Right.
And the conversation, not like I'm harassing people, like we're all enjoying the conversation, but the conversation I was having with them then was about contemporary hip hop, right? Because I didn't want to, as somebody who was looking at 30 then, I didn't want to conform with this idea that as soon as I hit 30, I had to stop listening to hip hop stations, start listening to the R&B station, and go to jazz concerts only and affordable old
Right.
school hip hop.
Yo,
So
we were so afraid of that death.
man, like I was just like, so I don't get no more new music.
I was like, oh shit, I'm
I
gonna
just
get
gotta keep.
old, and I just gotta
The
like.
funny thing is, I'm still only listening to shit from like 10 years ago anyway. But every once in a while, I'll step out, come back in. It's just really amazing to me to see our generation of hip hop fans acknowledged and represented in the way that we are. I think that shit is dope as fuck. And so, I'm really excited about this movie. I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, but I've heard nothing but good things. I'm imagining that I'm going to see a lot of myself in it. Um, and the record was really dope. And then Dave East came on, and I was like, "Who's that?" Oh, there goes Dave East, not sounding like anybody in particular again.
Absolutely, we know
Keep showing
Davies.
up.
You know those shift workers at Amazon need they new bars. So.
Dave East gonna be the nigga to be employee of the year just because he's never late. Like he's just keep showing up.
Nah, the Davies is an essential worker's dream.
He's so funny.
Hey.
Anyway, guys, so yeah, next week we're gonna do a whole lot more music
But
discussing.
it's fun though, because I really like, we are at the intersection of music and life, and all things culture really 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 go through both. So we'll keep doing it, but keep giving us feedback. Let us know what y'all like to hear.
And let us know that you guys are listening, man. Like tell a friend. Listen, there's a thing that's been floating around on the internet that says, the ways in which you can support us. A like is cool, a share is better. A comment is right there in between. We love y'all. We consistently, according to our stats, there's at least 30 of y'all that fuck with us week on week. We'd like to grow that number. So, again, we love the feedback. We're doing our due diligence in the background to figure out how we can provide you with more entertaining content. And if you are in a state that allows early voting, please go do it. Please, 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 please. Don't be deterred by there are some places where people are definitely having like nightmare scenarios. Like somebody was talking about how he stood in line for 7 hours to vote. But then, 7 hours. But then, like if you're in Atlanta and, if you're able to vote in Fulton County, you can go to State Farm Arena. And I've heard there's 300 voting machines at State Farm Arena.
Oh yeah, they said that's quick.
Yeah, it's in and out and that's it. And, here in Georgia, early voting ends on October 30th. And, yeah, man, like this, I don't got to tell y'all, they've been beating y'all over the head about this shit for all year. This is a very, 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 very important election. And that's why Stevie Wonder's record is called what it's called, which is what? Can't put it in the hands of fate.
Please go to Ballotpedia ahead of time. Check out your ballot. Read all the things that are on your ballot. Look into the questions that they ask you, because sometimes they load those questions with things. So just make sure you understand. A lot of them this year are going to be around George Floyd and police type stuff. I know in Pennsylvania there are 3 measures concerning policing and things like that. So, if you're lucky, you're in the state that's trying to legalize marijuana. About 43 states have some form of marijuana tolerance, whether it be medical or recreational. So let's keep that going. And a
If
lot
you
of them, a lot of them are also trying to expunge anybody who had a weed charge, or you know, open that up to minorities so they have an opportunity to get in on those. But yo, get
so
this.
look, guys, if and it's not even hard to find that information.
No, you
I
literally go to ballotpedia.com.
open freaking Instagram. And at the very top, it's gonna be like, here's a place where you can find resources.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, it's pretty
It's
much
everywhere.
everywhere.
So if if you don't find it at this point, it's because you don't want to. Also, what I wanted to point out to you guys, because somebody like myself who cannot vote, this is the only way that I can help out. Find an organization, find a way to get involved and support, whether you driving people, whether you are working the polls, because they're talking about like in Georgia, part of the issue that they're having as a holdup is the poll workers not being able to log people in quickly enough. Part of that is a software hardware issue. I'm gonna venture to guess that part of that is also because the people trying to do it are over 45.
So yeah, go to powertopolls.com. They are paying up to $325 a day here in Georgia. But if you go to powertopolls.com, they'll show you how to be a poll worker. You got to take like one class before that, one training session, and then it's
I'm
you just got to
literally
work
signing
that
up
whole
right
day. So
now as we speak.
yeah,
So that's gonna do it for us, guys.
vote that fool out of office. I
Please,
normally don't be like, yo, how to vote. No, listen, Biden, Harris.
please. And local, like the little know what's
Absolutely.
going on. And after you vote, stay on the asses. These people work for you.
Yes.
Okay.
Vote out everybody that enabled Trump.
All right, guys. If you're outside, cover your faces, wash your hands, and sanitize. If you're inside,
Enjoy your weekend.
make house party popping again because I'm not going outside, but I'm starting to miss people.
I might go get COVID tonight. I can't decide.
You said you might go get what?
Said I might go get COVID tonight. I can't decide.
Oh, I mean, well, you're not gonna get
No,
COVID. Let's
I'm
not say
not. Let me just be clear, okay? Um, Folks are smarter than you might think. And sometimes we look at people and oh, they're outside because they're in picture ops, and we don't actually know what's going on. We don't know what precautions they're actually taking.
that.
So
Right.
let's not rush to judgment. Um, my friends who are outside have been very smart about how they've been outside. And when I went outside, I was very smart about how I did it. So just continue to be smart. Listen to the science. Listen to the scientists. Wear your mask.
Try not to be around the people that don't believe this thing is
Don't
real.
cough on people. How about that? Don't be that person all up in people's faces. Don't hug people. Elbow daps are good. You know, all those things. So
I
yeah,
ain't even gonna front. I don't remember where I was recently, and I saw somebody, and I didn't even think so. That don't hug people. You got to remind yourself of that shit because I ain't seen people in like 6 months. I had a dream about a friend of mine the other day, and I was like, oh shit! Like I really have not seen a lot of people
no.
all year.
I'm
So
talking to
anyway,
people on Zoom, and I'm just like, but I haven't seen you in real life. Like I just thought about that. Like wow, you know, because we've normalized these video calls and we've normalized social media to the point where you feel like that's a part of real life, and I guess it is, but you know, it's nothing like seeing them in the flesh. So,
yes. Anyway, we'll be back next week. Peace. What happened to peace?
pause.
Pause. Kalo K.